Hey again everybody, City of StarCraft here for another StarCraft 2 commentary. We are going to have a 2v2 in store for you guys today. Top right corner looks like Cosmo playing as a red Protoss, his teammate. Duty Face, playing as the blue Terran up here. Bottom left, their opponents. JDX playing as the teal Terran. And his teammate is going to be the purple Zerg, named Zerg, happily named Zerg. Now, this particular map, I do forget that the name of it does elude me, unfortunately, so I'm not entirely sure. I have played it before. It's a pretty good 2v2 map. The placement of the Zelnaga Watchtower is great because basically no matter where your opponents spawn, this Zelnaga Watchtower controls the direct center of all the paths going from one base to the other. So if you can control this, you definitely know exactly when your opponents are moving out, and it allows you to, of course, get prepared for whatever they might be in store to be attacking you with. Of course, Cosmo is kind of boosting out some workers here. Probably going to get about 13, 14 supply, maybe drop down a gateway at that point. But it does appear he is walling off at the bottom. On this particular map, I do like the walling off at the bottom. As you can see, your teammate and you, the ramps are just about 5 or 6 hexes away from each other, so it's not very far. So if you're able to wall off, one person can basically protect both bases because of the wall. And at the same time, then you can probably put siege tanks up on both sides to actually, again, because it's so close to your teammate, you can put siege tank here, basically lock this down completely and do some type of harassment elsewhere. Does look like Zerg actually did finally scout his opponents, find out where they are. At the same time, looks like Cosmo's coming down here and seeing that Zerg player is down here, and seeing JDX as well. Now, I would say, especially if you're doing a 2v2, 3v3, or 4v4, if you're going with your scouting worker, scout around the back side of it, because usually, especially if they're Zerg players, scout around the back side, because usually they put the spawning pool towards the back, and you definitely want to know exactly when that spawning pool went down, so you can be prepared if it's 6, 7, 8 pool, 9 pool, 10 pool, whatever have you, or standard pool, as in this case Zerg is doing. It's definitely good to be able to do that. So, again, scout behind it. Usually what I do is I scout, queue a few things behind it, scout, queue a few things behind their mineral line, and go from there. But it does appear that Cosmo maybe isn't really paying attention too much because his worker is still scouting around. Usually once you scout the bases of each other, you continue to scout around or just send them home. I usually, once I find where they're at, continue to scout, queue up a lot of movement commands, find out exactly what's going around at all times, just to see what might be going on. As you can see now, his probe is idle. Again, one more little trick, guys. If you have idle probes, there's a little box down here on the left that shows you exactly how many idle workers you have, and you click on it, and you can move them wherever. It appears that Zerg did actually steal Cosmo's geyser here. As you can see, the extractor is going down, and but it didn't really bother apparently Cosmo too much because he is just now getting his assimilator. Usually you start your assimilator when your gateway is about halfway being done, which is usually about 15 supply or so, and then drop your pylon at 16. But yeah, that assimilator is way behind. Well, that also is doing is making it so it puts warp gate technology way, way, way behind. Usually by this point your warp gate technology is close to being finished, especially since it's being chrono boosted, but at this point it seems to be way behind. Cosmo does appear that he is playing turtle defensive type standpoint. He is actually putting cannons up around his base, prevent any type of thing of that nature. That's actually good for Zerg because Zerg actually opted to go for an early expansion. Now what I say about early expansion on 2v2s, it's usually you engage a couple times and you drop your expansions down maybe the 8-10 minute mark after you know what you're going up against so you can get the econ. 2v2s are kind of tough for Zerg because, again, Zerg players need those multiple bases, but if the other team moved out, Zerg, for the most part, wouldn't have had any type of army to defend his base. So this particular base would just got destroyed, and then JDX and Zerg would be way behind in that regard. A lot of harvesters here. Definitely needs to start transferring a few more of them to the expansion over there. Yeah, if this goes unchecked, Zerg and JDX will probably be in a lot better shape just because they'll be up another base. And at the same time, it looks like, again, Cosmo, they're just playing more defensively than anything. His teammate Duty Face, though, on the other hand, is actually doing a pretty good job keeping his minerals, for the most part, below 100, constantly producing units. But he really should, actually, at this point in time, move out and maybe do some damage to Zerg's base here. Now, it looks like there was an SCV or a probe that was running around here. Did end up getting cleaned up about from the Zerglings, so they are aware now that there is expansion here. So they definitely need to get this before it gets too far out of control. But Zerg does a great job here putting even more static defense because he anticipates at this point in time that he'll probably be attacked soon. Now this little probe's days were numbered. He was trying to grab that watchtower, but Zerg, as you can see, did a great job of going ahead and securing that watchtower so that, again, he can see all of what's going around him. Vision, like I said, guys, many times, is one of the most vital things. Vision and scouting are two of the most vital things in StarCraft 2. Being able to know where your army's at and being able to know what they're building is very nice to have, and usually you can win just because of that. So having this watchtower is definitely a plus, so it does help out a lot. Now, excuse me, guys. Zerg is bringing a Zergling to each of the expansions for his opponents. I do like this play. It does a couple things. Might prevent the command center from lifting off and landing here. Also gives them a little scouting so they know when the expansions are going down. It appears that JDX is actually building an expansion of his own. He's probably about 10 seconds away from having that completed. And definitely econ will go up because of that. Now it appears that two Marines and a Marauder come over here, clean that little Zergling up, and secure this watchtower. So now again, Duty Face and his teammate actually have control of the map when it comes to vision. It looks like he also is getting a lot of upgrades to impact, a vital thing for Terrans, and also getting armor level 1, which is really good, especially against Zerglings and against Banelings. Probably lasts a little bit longer. He probably should also work on combat shields, especially since he's got a lot of Marines here, and it looks like maybe, this Marine survived with 5 HP. His Marine buddy right here, unfortunately, did get cut in half. Now it appears that Zerg is going for a Spire located right here. Possibly going to do some worker harassment and try to get some map control because of that. But it does appear that Cosmo is, for some reason, getting expansion all the way over here on the top left side. He's trying to ninja an expansion, as some people like to call it. Now, if gone unchecked, again, this will do very good for the Protoss player. But it's very susceptible to attacks. If this is scouted, this will be destroyed almost instantly just because there's no help. It looks like this SCV possibly was coming down to do an expansion of his own. But, yeah, he was saving up the minerals, so he was going to do an expansion of his own, but that Zergling did a good job of preventing that. But, of course, as you can see, now that Zergling is destroyed. So, again, having that one Zergling here, it did two things. Killed an SCV, so more than paid for itself, and it also blocked the expansion from going down a little bit longer, making it so that not only does Duty Face's money get up a little higher, but prevents, like I say, that expansion from going down and delays that even more. So Zerg is asking JDX to scan so they can see exactly what you want to use. He's actually going to resupply him a little bit of minerals to offset the amount for that. Duty Face definitely needs to put another worker in there. And both of these actually. Yeah, make sure there's 3 workers in your refineries, guys. You definitely need to do that. Yeah. Now that is a lot of Hellions. Oh, that is almost one whole page of Hellions right here. So, yeah. Let's see exactly how many we got here. Alright, looks like we got about 20 of them here. He is going to be moving out with these Hellions. Possibly do some work here. Definitely do a great job against all these Zerglings. So the Zerglings definitely need to sit behind these Spine Crawlers. Spine Crawlers will definitely do more damage to the Hellions. So, yeah. JDX definitely needs to get up here and help out, probably bring his siege tanks up here. Definitely doesn't need to bring his Marines. Marines was not a good idea against the Hellions, because the Hellions will definitely roast all the Marines. There is a Colossus in here now. So the Colossus could do some work, and now it's just back and forth a little bit here. Spinecrawl is getting in on the action, but these Hellions are doing some great work. The siege tanks here are destroying the Hellions, however. Now, finally, the Zerg player is going to end up getting surrounded with his Zerglings. It looks like that Colossus is going to go down, but at what cost? Every single Zergling, I'd say about 60 or 70 Zerglings, maybe. That might be over-exaggerated. Completely destroyed by those Hellions. But now Zerg does have a lot of air units. He does have a lot of these Mutalisks. Definitely needs to bring them in. Not into the Marines. The Marines would definitely destroy him. Definitely needs to bring those Marines, the Mutalisks back, and end up going in for the. He definitely needs to bring the Mutalisks into the worker line and try to do some harassment. Looks like they're afraid of some type of harassment, so Duty Face is coming back to prevent any type of attack. But it possibly could be that this expansion up here for the Protoss player might end up being scouted, or maybe not. Oh, so close. They definitely need to come up a little bit further. Unfortunately, they were just so close. They have not seen this expansion. They did see the pylon there, so, and it looks like JDX did ping that and see that there was a pylon there. So, of course, they're going to come up here and completely lock down that expansion. JDX does scan for where the units of his opponents are. A lot of Ghosts here. Ghosts, unfortunately, still a light base unit and just get roasted from the Hellions. But there's a siege tank here. Siege tank do great against the Hellions. It looks like actually somewhat of a spine crawler push out here in the middle of the map here. Possibly trying to control the center of the base, but there are Hellions going unchecked in JDX's expansion here. A lot of probes get a lot of SCVs get destroyed. A couple more get destroyed right there, but at this point in time, the tanks are definitely going to do a lot more damage and destroy what's left of the Hellions. But at this point, it also looks like at least one Hellion or one tank going down, and of course the Zerglings are able to clean the rest of that Stalker up. Now Cosmo does have an observer right here, as you can see, so he's able to see exactly where the units are. But if Zerg keeps pushing forward, he might actually be able to get expansions all the way, or get the spine crawlers all the way up into the opponent's base, and then there's not much they can really do. JDX does look like he's getting another expansion down here in the bottom right corner, so he feels confident enough to be able to do that. He's banking a lot of resources. Probably needs to drop a couple more production facilities, maybe, you know, a couple more factories as you see, but maybe about 5 or 6 more barracks, and probably even more factories than that, because again, he's banking on a lot of resources. He can easily fund those production facilities. Their opponents over here, unfortunately, are banking on just a little bit of resources and don't have many production facilities. That's because, for the most part, they've been stuck on one base for a while. The Protoss player is still stuck on one base. His Terran teammate is trying to get second and third bases up and going. Now it looks like JDX and Zerg are possibly going to move in here, do some type of worker harassment. It looks like they're coming in right into the Duty Face's expansion here. You got to pick off a couple of mules. Mules definitely good to kill, especially since they get so many minerals for the Zerg player. And go try and take out this expansion here, but there's a lot of Stalkers there and a couple of Marines coming in. Definitely need to pull out and try to get another attack somewhere else.